A man who has successfully built and grown a niche housing player company into a major mass housing developer, JJ Atencio, is now betting big on fintech. Now, after retiring from listed company 8990 Holdings last December, he has been tapped to lead fintech firm Acudeen Technologies, a firm that helps out MSMEs with funding needs. Now, there's certainly no retirement for this guy, and today we are glad to have him joining us in our Rockwell studio. Good morning, JJ. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Mi. Yeah, it's nice to be back. Okay. I thought that I wouldn't be here anymore since I retired, but thank you very much for inviting me.
Of course.
This morning.
3 months out of 8990 Holdings, at least the day-to-day operations. How's life like?
Well, it's more restful, but it's also more interesting because now there's new things that I want to be involved in, and I'm starting to be involved in fintech, in retail. I'm spending more time with research on housing as the chairman of the Center for Housing Advocacy and Independent Research.
You know, I remember last year when you made the announcement about this retirement, I covered that, and you said you wanted to focus on your personal endeavors. Is this it? Is fintech it?
So this is one of them. Fintech is, I think, the flavor of the month for startups and emerging businesses. So there's a lot of interest. There's certainly a lot of funding interest. Venture capital companies, even established institutional funds are looking into investing in fintech companies.
And one company in particular that's getting a lot of your attention these days is Acudeen Technologies.
Yes.
This is what you're heading.
So, yes.
In Filipino, it sounds Acudeen Technologies.
Yes, that's right.
And basically what it does is it's receivables financing. Can you explain how that works?
Yes. So, you know, receivables financing is not anything new. It's always been there, and it's been limited to bigger companies doing receivables financing with the banks. Okay, so what we've done in Acudeen is to tell the SMEs and to tell the smaller investors na kayo din. Diba? So you can also be part of receivables financing by using the Acudeen platform on one side to list your receivables. These are small and medium scale enterprises who do business with bigger companies like multinationals. And on the other side, you have retail investors who are willing to invest 50,000, 100,000. And so it's pretty much the first technological-based receivables financing platform that tries to include everybody. That's why it's Acudeen.
Acudeen.
Yes.
So basically, for example, I'm the company, I'm the MSME, I'm an entrepreneur. I deliver these goods to, for example, JJ, and I have receivables, which you pay me in 30 days.
Yes.
But I need the cash now.
Yes, exactly.
So what I do is I give that receivable to another businessman who is willing to give me the cash today, and he'll be the one to collect from you.
Yes. So you have a receivable, so you go into the platform.
Yes.
You post the receivable. There's a group of investors that are waiting, and there's enough information from the receivable for them to make the decision on whether to buy your receivable. Diba? And when that's done, then there's a discount on the receivable. Say the receivable is 100 pesos. The buyer can now say, okay, I'll buy a receivable for 95, and so you get your 95 pesos immediately, which allows you as an SME to continue producing the goods that you sell to a bigger company. Well, on the other hand, the investors need to wait for 30 days to get a yield out of the investment.
Is there an effort for Acudeen to filter the types of receivables that are posted online to make sure they're safe receivables?
Yes.
Yes.
So the payment actually doesn't come from the SME. It comes from the payor.
The payor.
And therefore, part of the Acudeen value-added service is to KYC both sides, to KYC or to know the client from the sell side, meaning to say we do background checks on the SME, but we also do background checks on the payer, because ultimately it's the check of the big company that will now be assigned to the transaction, so that the investor gets paid. On the buy side, we also do KYC, di ba? We want to know, so that we just don't accept anybody with illegitimate money.
Yes. Okay. But from the MSME's perspective, for example, isn't the number one need the need for funding for me to deliver the goods? Because for receivables financing, which is what Acudeen does now, you're basically, the goods and the services have been delivered.
Yes.
You already have the receivable. But for MSMEs, wouldn't they be in more need of funding for that delivery of service or goods?
Okay, so Acudeen right now,
for PO, this is what they
Yes.
call PO financing,
Yes.
purchase order financing.
So Acudeen right now is financing receivables already. So the small businessman, he has some capital, he builds a product, he was able to sell it to a bigger company. So he needs to turn around.
Less risky since delivered
Diba?
na.
Yes, diba? So the transaction is simple. It's been
Yes.
delivered. Okay, so we're talking about startup financing, probably a loan from an institution, from banking sector, from a lender would be an appropriate vehicle. But receivables financing for Acudeen, in Acudeen's thinking, is just the tip of the iceberg. So basically, we'd like to move into financing of chattel assets, of movable assets. One of the things that we will require as we move to movable assets is to verify the data of the asset itself. For example, so he has to make the goods first. We can finance that, but we have to make sure that the data is, he's got the right equipment, he's got
So you're
some
willing to
track
get into
record.
PO financing?
Eventually. Yes, and other financing of movable assets. Yeah, we can finance inventory. That's basically what PO financing is. By locking in the inventory coming out of that, initial product process.
And what's exciting is you're getting into the cryptocurrency blockchain technology. You're planning to offer Bitcoin-like tokens.
Yes. So actually, it's like Bitcoin, but it's not like Bitcoin. So it's like Bitcoin because it's also cryptocurrency, but it's not like Bitcoin because Bitcoin is basically a cryptocurrency for exchange. You have Bitcoin, and it's easy to exchange from Bitcoin to other cryptocurrencies like Ethereum, Litecoin,
yes.
Ripple, etc., and a host of a million other coins. But ours is a utility token. In other words, we've created a coin for a specific purpose. So it's got a utility, so it's got intrinsic value. And basically, the Acu coins will be used by our buyers and sellers in order to do business in the Acudeen platform.
For example, I want to post my receivables.
Yes.
There's a transaction or processing fee. I pay in token.
Yes. So instead of paying cash now, you can now pay in tokens.
But parang you just added another step. Why don't I just pay in cash?
Well, yes, and that's what we're doing now. But we're also realizing that our buyers are basically coming from all over the world, and so we want to simplify cross-border transactions, and we want to eliminate foreign exchange risks or arbitrage, and therefore the use of utility tokens or basically fiat currency in the virtual world will solve that problem of cross-border transactions.
Okay, we don't have much time, but very quickly, these tokens, you're going to have a sort of an ICO,
Yes.
initial offering.
Yes.
You've been on road shows. You're
Yes.
looking to raise how much?
We're looking to raise a minimum of $10 million
Uh-huh.
and then a high cap of $35 million.
In which countries are you expecting a very strong uptake?
Yes, so we're looking at Singapore and Hong Kong. We've been there. The interest for these is very strong. We plan to go to Jakarta. There's a very strong, vibrant, growing fintech community in Jakarta. We want to go to Tokyo because there's some interest as well. Seoul is also interested. There's some funds that are into investing in these.
It's a very aggressive plan, but
So
very
we'll see.
exciting.
Yes. So our president Magellan Fetalino is committed to go through all these countries for the roadshow. Yes. As chairman, I get to pick.
Very good. And how much is the exchange rate? I mean, the value of a token?
Okay. So yes.
So far?
One token is $1 is equal to 100 tokens.
Okay, and very exciting. When is the ICO happening?
So the ICO is happening, I think, towards the first week of May.
Okay. Hopefully we get to talk to you once that happens.
Yes,
so you can give us feedback.
when we reach our minimum cap or our maximum cap.
Okay, thank you very much, JJ.
Thank you,
Always
Mi.
good talking to you.
It's always a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, here's some earnings news from listed corporations. Manny Villar's Vistalad